Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to another CryptoManiacs Q&A session. It's November the 18th, 2022. Getting near the end of the year. And what a year it's been, Task. Have you been enjoying your ride through the crypto landscape recently?
Yeah, it's always fun. It's always fun. I had a real interesting week, to tell you the truth, and being a fellow Hive liker or
Liker.
underestimated,
Mhm.
I think you will appreciate the week I had with our interview Tuesday with Block Trades, which should make everybody's toes curl. And then I had a did a Spaces yesterday with They Call Me Dan. And if after listening to those two interviews or discussions or whatever you want to call it, you're not excited about Hive, um, you're probably missing something because I put together a post this morning, Hive to $100, and I know how much you pay attention and love prices, so you will be able
Definitely.
to really dissect my analysis from a market perspective and probably write a counter post to that, since I know you have your charts there and
My
everything.
my RSI and Bollinger Bands.
Yeah, yes. I know, and you're watching for the crossovers and all of that stuff. Um, Very good, Bollinger Bands. I'm impressed. Good job. But
Don't even know what that
I mean,
means, but
one thing I wrote is Block Trades. Listen, he's not over the top. If anything, he understates stuff. And when he says, technologically, we're just lapping the field and nobody's close. He didn't use those terms, but that's basically what he meant.
yeah.
That says a lot. And I know everybody uses the VHS beta, and well, the best technology doesn't always win. Guess what? It usually wins. I mean, look at Google
Mhm.
search. Why can nobody take that out? Because quite frankly, for all Google's problems, they do have the best algos when it comes to search.
Mhm.
There's
Excuse
stuff
me.
I look for using other search engines, and I don't get the results, and I go to Google and it pops right up. So,
Right.
uh, it's the crypto markets are tough. It's a bear. FTX and everything for a whirlwind. One other thing I will say about the markets that I think is rather impressive, it did fall in the collapse, but HBD has held in there very well. So
Yeah,
I,
it did.
I think
Yeah.
that's just another feather in the cap. It held up well. It's back. You go to CoinGecko, it's back near the 98, 99 cent dollar range on there,
Mhm.
which we know that's taken the centralized exchanges. Then you go to the external exchange, it's closer. And even the derivatives from Leo Finance, they tend to hold the peg a little bit better than the centralized exchanges. And all of them did fairly well. So I think that's cause for optimism.
Yeah, it's cautiously optimistic. That was my my theme because of as you know, the announcement from Splinterlands yesterday caught a lot of people by surprise. Um, I made a big post about it, had a ton of feedback from the community. Um, General sentiment for those who aren't aware of what's going on. Apparently, they laid off a big percentage of their staff yesterday. And if you paid attention to Splinterlands, there's a few things. One, I was kind of scratching my head why they were launching product after product after product during a bear market. Um, so I'm scratching my head doing that, going, man, I don't know how people are keeping up. I can't even keep up with all this. But at the same time, Splinterlands was basically born in a bear market. So I'm sitting in the back of my mind going like, Splinterlands is untouchable. They've been through this. They've been through they were created in bear markets, but they were still launching product after product. Well, it comes to we've come to know that they were having, big time issues with income coming in. And on the town hall yesterday, it was announced that their operating costs are about $1 million a month, staff and keeping the lights on. So they said they had, what was it, or 14 to 21 months, they could operate still, but they needed to cut back on staff. So a lot of people are concerned. I mean, I'm one of them. I'm invested in Splinterlands big time. But
It's going
that
to
was
zero, man. That's you're losing all your money. It's crypto. You should have
yeah, totally. Yeah.
Listen, this is I don't care when they were born. That means nothing on nothing.
Mhm.
Here's the deal. It's not unique. What happened to Splinterlands, I guarantee, and I don't have any inside information, I don't have any numbers to back it up, but they got
Right.
too fat.
Yeah.
That's what happens. You go into a bull market and companies get fat and everything's going well and you have expansion, hire, bring more people in. Oh, here's a guy, he just lost his job. Well, at so and so because the bear market took. Oh, okay, we'll take him over.
Right.
And all of a sudden you wake up one day and it's like, holy shit, look at the money we're laying out. And it's not like they're broke. They said they
No.
have whatever you just said.
Oh yeah,
14
over a year worth of they're good, right? So,
and they'll probably with these layoffs extend that out, or maybe that's after layoffs, whatever the case may be. But I mean, we see it with Meta, we see it with Tesla, we see it with a bunch of different companies, Amazon. They're laying off, and Elon Musk. I read his interview, his meeting with the employees. That's online on Verge. He had a meeting and basically he said, I've been through these. I was through the dot-com bust. I was in business with Tesla through the after the great financial crisis, and it wasn't easy. It's very scary. And Musk is on record saying he believes there's a recession. I mean, he's not unique with that. And he's basically saying, listen, bankruptcy is a legitimate possibility with Twitter. I'm here to try to save things, but we got to get some money coming in. And part of that is, we need more money coming in than we have going out. And so that was basically where he said, that's why we're laying off people left and right. And, the numbers just don't add up. And, so I don't think Splinterlands is in any different position. I think it's actually a positive that they took this step instead of putting their head in the ground saying, "Oh, well, we'll just throw out another set of cards there and we'll make the payroll." Doesn't work like that, and that's how you end up in bankruptcy court. So they're taking a proactive step. I mean, I don't know anything about the financials. I don't know anything about their plans. I don't know anybody who was let go other than Bulldog, because I did see you two tweeting back and forth with each other. But evidently, some of it's a development staff, which I watched Jabba on the show with Cal a couple of weeks ago, and he said basically he's out of development and he has people doing that. Well, maybe now he has to step back into developing because a lot of those people that they had are not there. And we know development doesn't come cheap, so it's
right.
You have to plan ahead.
Yeah, it was the shocker for me was Bulldog being let go, just because he is like the face of that brand, I think, for a lot of the social media. Like, there's a lot of great content creators, Infidel and him, and there's loads of them that do really, really good stuff. But Bulldog seemed to be, well, he was the community manager. Like, that was his title in Splinterlands. So that's probably the most concerning thing to me. And I get it. I totally agree with you. I think, layoffs happen, and especially getting lean instead of being, a big fat corporation when things are great and then things start going south. You got to trim some fat. But when you this is my issue with it. Splinterlands was built by a community. It really was. Like, the Steam community back then, which has transformed into the Hive community, really spearheaded Splinterlands. It was this sense of community, and that was his job title, community manager. This goes with my 3 golden rules of use case, development, and community. That is so important. Community is so important, and the people behind it are so important to projects like Splinterlands. He's, I don't know what they were paying him. I have no insight in that, but that's something I think is a need for companies to have someone who understands the people that are in the community and understands the dynamics of the game and understands the politics in it, and uh, I think that's really important to have someone out there to be that liaison between the owners and the community. So I hate seeing him go, just, well, because we know him and he's been a guest here, but he led a lot of people to Splinterlands over the past couple of years from his content. So
Well, but if you're switching from growth to survival,
right, yeah,
you're not really concerned at this point. You'll approach that bridge again when you get to it. And yeah, I mean, none of us know how big this overall economic recession will be, and we certainly have no idea what the crypto bear
yeah,
will hold. And let's be honest. I mean, FTX sent shock waves, and put a lot of people on notice that shit, things may get worse before they get better. And
yeah,
I don't mean to insinuate that Splinterlands had anything to do with FTX. I'm just
mhm,
talking in the overall sense of sentiment. And we saw the market take another pretty significant hit after the FTX news came out. And nobody can say if this is the low. There may be much lower levels. Again, we don't know where the tentacles of this thing end with
yeah,
FTX. So, it's it's time to hunker down. And hopefully they did it early enough where when I read your post, I was reminded of Steam had announcing they were laying off like 50% of their staff. The problem was they waited too damn long. I mean,
yeah,
Ned just kept going along with his head in the sand. And, I don't know how many months of payroll they still had in the bank, but they were not in very good financial shape. So
right,
Justin Sun was able to come in and get a sweetheart deal because Ned was desperate. And hopefully, with that type of money that they mentioned at $1 million a month, that if they are, sitting on 15 to 20 million, uh, hopefully they can milk that forward and
yeah,
get through whatever is going to come. And I'm sure they can. And, it's just, unfortunately, you can talk about community, but Splinterlands is a business. They got to
mm,
approach it as a business. Community is really to them customers. At the end of the day, I mean, you can you can size it up all you want. It's not a DAO.
mm,
It's a business. They got shareholders. I don't know if they effectively have shares, but there's people who own Splinterlands Inc. or whatever the hell it's called, Splinterlands Ltd. They
mm,
own the company. And so when you say it's community, well, not really, because that's like saying call to call to duty is community. No, they're players. They're customers. And that's what the community is for Splinterlands. With Hive, it's different because there is no owner. We all have a piece if we're holding a Hive token.
mm,
Um, you have in-game assets, you have cards, you have SBS, you have deck, you have all this stuff that has value. But at the end of the day, you don't own the game. The game is owned by the company. And if Splinterlands Inc. decided to sell the company to Atari or Sega or whatever, um, it's like you're just a customer, just like you are now.
yeah,
So I think even though it's tied to blockchain, you have to look at the structure, and it's a business. And, you know, it's tough to get around that unless you're dealing with a DAO. You're dealing with a business, and most other things are businesses. And if people are producing stuff, I mean, Speak Network obviously is being structured in a different manner the way they're doing it. GLX is a business. I don't know who owns it, if it's part of Splinterlands or if they set up another company. I have no idea. Now they're
mm,
airdropping the token to SBS holders. So that's helping the consumers. And I think they want those Splinterlands people to also become, GLX or Genesis Sports customers. But again, let's make no mistake, we don't own anything in, Genesis Sports. That's, a private entity somehow, some way. And
right,
we just have to keep that in mind. I mean, Splinterlands is no different than Steemit. They're a company. private company. They got shareholders. Those shareholders have invested money or invested time or whatever they've done, and they want to get paid, and they got to run it based upon a profit and loss statement.
Yeah. Crazy times. You ready to dive into the questions? There's a lot of market sentiment questions this week.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Because I asked the question, are you still bullish? Maybe I should have said, sell everything. Maybe not.
Should have said optimistic.
Yeah, cautiously optimistic. That's the word of the day. Arcane is up. He said, what is your prediction for how long the bear market will last?
It'll go through at least this weekend. Next.
It'll go through this weekend.
I mean, these listen, people, how often do John and I talk about it? I pay more attention to token price than John does. John doesn't even pay attention. But we were both very emphatic about the fact we don't sit and do market analysis. And to be honest with you, anybody who does market analysis, at best, it's guesswork.
It's best
because
guess.
nobody knows. FTX, as I just said, sent shockwaves. This could send us reeling for another 6 months. I don't know. I do believe that the risk on trade is starting to, the sentiment there is starting to shift, and we may have seen the lows in the equity markets. We'll see what the Fed does in the next few months. But if they start to reverse course in the first quarter, then you could have a totally different scenario. But that's an overriding macroeconomic situation, or at least a macro market situation, which, again, may or may not affect crypto. I have a feeling, I have a tough time believing that if the equity market, the sentiment is risk on, that crypto does not enjoy that also. But it is possible for there still to be a negative risk off sentiment with crypto because of what we've just seen with FTX, and the equity market is flying and everybody's excited there, and crypto is still taboo. But, how long this lasts, who the hell knows?
It's funny. Speaking of the bear market, and then, combine it with Splinterlands, D-Kid is really great guy that's been, me and him have been going back and forth for years now on Hive. But he really got me into Splinterlands. So I actually purchased quite a few of cards off of him when I was starting to get. So seeing his comment, feeling bad for those laid off, I know it hits home for him too, because he's such a fan of the game. He said he's still bullish long term in crypto though, and obviously on Splinterlands. But he kind of feels the same way you do. This is going to be a long time, and he wanted to know, what are we thinking? And just like you said, no crystal ball, but it could be 6 months, it could be 3 months, it could be a year, it could be longer. I mean,
could be.
It's like you said, when you're doing the market analysis and stuff, it literally is best guess, because I've been in this crypto stuff for almost a decade now, and I've heard it all. Like I've heard it all. I've seen people put it up on Twitter where there's like a screenshot and they're pointing at a number on a chart and going, look, things are going to swing. Never does. Or there's someone who throws up something and says, oh, well, it looks like it's going to be, everything's going to sell off in the next day. Things go to the moon in the next day. I mean, you literally, this is why I ignore it. Not that I don't think it's valuable, not that I don't think price is important, nothing like that. I ignore it because it's literally best guess. And if you're sitting there staring at, numbers and charts and trying to decide when to get in and out, timing of the market is a lot harder to do than time in the market. Time in the market is just buy and accumulate. If you believe in a project, buy and accumulate, buy and accumulate, buy and accumulate, which is kind of what we feel like with Hive. So
this is what I'll say about Splinterlands. And it's the same thing I've said all along. We've talked about it. Blaine jumped in with a very, very important question. Dear sirs, when moon? I mean, this is right up John and mine alley. I mean,
for sure.
Please let him pause. He's going to pull up his Bollinger Band, so he'll be able to tell you exactly when things are going to turn. Here's the deal with Splinterlands. It's the same deal with Hive. It's the same reason why I believe Hive's going to be $100 at some point. It's the same reason that we've talked about over and over. I don't care if Splinterlands drops 50% of their staff. I don't care if they drop another 50% beyond that to be down 75%. even if they have a skeleton crew, as long as development continues, and I make this point with uh, CTP, as long as Blaine's hacking away at code, I make this point with Leo Finance, as long as they have developers still working on stuff, Speak Network, the Hive core dev team and the base layer, and now as we found out for block trades the other day, their focus shifting to layer 2. Disregard who's been on, as long as he keeps hacking away at code, as long as these projects keep developing, that's what's going to come out the other side. Yes, Splinterlands has to remain solvent through the process. And I have a pretty good feeling, they're taking the tough steps. They're not wanting to do this, but it's necessary. And if they keep doing that while keep developing, there's no reason not to be optimistic about Splinterlands if you were optimistic about them 2 days ago. Nothing's really changed. Things could be delayed. When you go from X number of people down to 50% of that, okay, things slow down a little. It takes a little longer to get stuff done. So you could see a delay in the rollout, this delay in the advancement. But the bottom line is, I don't believe the roadmap's changed in terms of what's on the roadmap. The timing could be pushed back another 6 months or a year because of personnel situations. So, I would say, and I'm not a big Splinterlands person. I don't have anything in Splinterlands, so I'm just speaking from the outside. I'm pretty much neutral on this in that regard. If you trust the team to manage their finances properly, which they really haven't given an indication they don't merit that trust, then Splinterlands is going to do just fine because they have a solid plan, it seems, for the game and the platform they're trying to build.
Well, that's what I said in my post last night. I said, they've built up enough goodwill over the past 4 years to, they're allowed to go through some crap. They've been literally winning for 4 years, so you don't all, just like we say about the markets, they don't always go up. So, Tokotaru 22 says he remains I don't know if it's he, excuse me. They, there you go. We're doing the pronouns. I remain optimistic. Where do you think the Hive floor is? Again, crystal ball, no idea. This is the Splinterlands thing is what is for me. Again, I use it as, it's got the collectability, it's got the blockchain aspects, it's got the gameplay, all that stuff. But Hive is different to me because Hive, I use it every single day. I'm using it right now. I'm going to use it when I'm commenting on blog posts. I'm going to use it when I'm uploading it to 3Speak. So for me, the price of Hive, I truly, yeah, I'd love it to be $5, but it doesn't bother me at all that it's 33 cents or whatever it is, or it's 25 cents or it's 10 cents, because I'm still going to use it tomorrow. So the floor to Hive is just like, I kind of like it when it dips. This was something we used to say a lot, a couple of years ago when people would go, oh, the price of Hive or the price of Steam was going, horrible, and less people will be around when prices dip. That means there's more of the rewards pool for you to snatch up if you are adding value to the blockchain. So I like the fact when there's less people here and people are saying it sucks and this is going to zero and yeah. I like it when it's at its floor or going south because I know less people will be here. More rewards for all of us that do believe in it long term to stash. So price for me, what the floor of Hive, no crystal ball for me. I don't know, Tasker. I know you have a crystal ball though. It's right there. I know. Bollinger Bands.
No. Actually, I had to send it out. It got a crack. So
damn it.
Catch me next Thursday. It'll be back.
Catch me outside.
Go read the post I put up this morning. I don't know where the bottom is, but again, and maybe I'm just on cloud nine after listening to Block Trades and Dan for about 4 hours combined, 3.5 hours between the two of them. These are guys who are pretty significant on the blockchain and involved in Hive. And they're not only significant, like, I'm significant and John's significant in that we're kind of around and we create content. These guys are significant. Block Trades, because his team, along with others, handle our base layer coding. Dan is very significant because obviously he's a major piece and a major principal, and I don't mean principal as an owner, but a major component in the Speak Network, which is another infrastructure foundational piece we believe going forward.
Right.
And when you listen to, especially that Spaces yesterday, and Dan, I mean, he was very emphatic. He said, "I've gone through the top 100. I've game theoried it. I can tell you in game theory how they all fail." He knows what's out there. And when Block Trades makes a statement, because he knows from a technical angle what's out there and what all these entities are trying to do, he knows where EOS is failing. He knows where Ethereum's failing from a coding standpoint, and thus all the EVMs. And that's why he brings in things like one block irreversibility. That's why he decided to push for something like half and have his team build something like half, which evidently, what did he say, John? Over the next 4 weeks, or was it 2 weeks or something? But there's going to be a major couple of weeks, was it? Okay. Yeah. There's going to be a major upgrade to half. And these are the people to listen to. And so when I wrote that post this morning, and as I was thinking about this last night, this isn't based on fluff. It isn't based on the markets. I don't give a shit what the market cap of Hive is. I don't really give a crap how many, what the trading volume on Hive is. I don't really care what the charts say on Hive. And I have no idea if we're going to go from 33 cents down to 16 cents, down to 8 cents, then to $50. I have no idea. Or we may go from 33 cents to 60 cents and back down to 8 cents. I don't know. But what I do know is, and I tweeted this out, I've heard Cal say it. I believe he said it on the show. Block Trade said it. Dan said it. Starkers has said it. They've all said 10 years. They're looking out 10 years. They have 10-year plans. Block Trades has 10 years worth of ideas that he wants to add to this ecosystem. You know, I mean, with crap like that, it's like, who cares? I mean, I understand if you're trying to live off crypto, but here's the bottom line. And we talk about it with Blaine. We talk about it with Cal. We talk about it with Disregard, and we talked about it with Block Trades. Coding takes time. All of these people would rather roll out stuff at 10 times the pace than they do. But unfortunately, they can't. And it just takes the time that it takes. Yes, it helps to have more people. That's why I just said about Splinterlands. The roadmap probably hasn't changed. Maybe the timing has, because you lose a bunch of developers. Well, you don't lose them. You get rid of a bunch of developers.
Yeah, that's what they said. They said that the timeline's still there. It's just it might get delayed. So
it's going to delay things. And, you know, you talk to Blaine. You know, Blaine sets out something. I plan to have this done in 6 weeks. Sometimes it's 5, but more often than not, it's 8, because that's just the nature of the beast. And, you know, we went like 14 months between hard forks or something, 15 months between hard forks on Hive. Block Trades didn't plan on that. Hell, he was on our show back in the spring saying, well, I think we're going to have it mid-April.
Yeah.
We get it what? Mid-October? Yeah. I mean, you know, they just kept digging and said, okay, we're here. Screw it. We're just going to, you know, let's fix this while we're here. And that's the way things go. You know, and that's okay. I mean, it sucks to wait, but are you in for the long term? Are you in to see where things will be by Tuesday? John and I don't come from the Tuesday perspective. That's why I don't sit and judge, and to talk about your guys' project, I don't sit and judge CTP based upon where they're at right now. I could give a crap. I don't care about the pace of the progress since January 1st to now. Tell me where the project's going to be in 5 years. And I can tell you right now, based upon what I know about Blaine and what John's told me, it's going to be in a much different place 5 years from now. Now, if you can't wait that long, well, okay, go and try to catch a high flyer. You know, John will do his Bollinger Band analysis on any stock, any crypto you want, and he'll tell you what the next one to buy that's going to move based on his Bollinger Bands, which will not be financial advice. It will be for entertainment purposes only. mostly for those of us who watch anybody who takes that advice, because
Yeah.
who knows, flip a coin. But this is the difference. Are you looking at cryptocurrency as another financial asset? That's what Wall Street does. That's what FTX does. That's what most of these assholes in crypto do. Or do you look at crypto as the creation of the new financial system, as the merging of social media and finance? And hopefully it's the merging of decentralized social media and decentralized finance, where ultimately every asset becomes crypto, not that crypto is a new asset class. And so we ultimately end up with anything that captures value, whether it's a stock, whether it's a bond, whether it's related to a commodity, whether it's related to a business, whether it's related, through a DAO, whatever. It's all tokenized, and that's where the value is captured. And then we are building the infrastructure to trade this stuff, swap this stuff, and for people to get involved. It doesn't happen overnight.
Yep. Absolutely. Thank you for the question, Toku. And Best starts up. This is John. He said, "Heck yeah, he's still bullish." My question is, what is SPT and SPT for? I know they are attached to Splinterlands. Are they worth hanging on to? Sorry, Task. Hopefully, not too many Splinterlands questions today. It's okay.
I know the answer to that one.
Do you?
Yes, SPT is Splinter Talk, and it's their proof of brain token. If you go to Splinter Talk and you post, and then of course SPS is actually, well, I don't know what the hell SPS tied to. I know I'm stacking it. I know I'm accumulating it, but
Well, SPS is the governance token, but he's asking
governance
about
token.
he's asking about SBT, which is
SBT. I don't know what the fuck that is.
Splinterlands battle token.
There's shit.
I'm not familiar with the project. It's not an official Splinterlands project. It's something the community created. I really don't know anything about SBT. I don't even think I got any. I'm not totally sure, but just like you said, Task, SPT is the proof of brain for their front end, splintertalk.io. So if you're writing about Splinterlands, if you're showing your battles or what cards you've purchased or whatever, you create the content with the SPT tag, and it'll show up on their front end, and you'll get some tokens. So, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, while we're here, why don't you explain? You said it's a governance token. What is SPS? What is the future, as you understand it, of SPS? So you basically give a comparison of the two.
Yeah, I mean, SPS is the governance token, so they've set up a DAO inside of the program where you can vote on proposals and the whole nine.
Okay.
That's the DNA of it, is for the proposal system inside of it, so the community can again decide what gets passed, what doesn't, when it comes to the proposals. It's been working pretty cool. Community's got a lot of good feedback. They've voted on some pretty cool proposals going forward. The big thing for SPS for me, and this is when I really had the aha moment with Splinterlands, and oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing, we need to get this out, was when player staking. So what this was going to do is you could basically stake your SPS tokens on individual players, and when that player won, you would get. So you're basically investing, you're creating your own little esports team. This was the idea why we created the index token guild. We were going to start, we even got jerseys. If you watch any of the shows that me, Blaine, and Eliana do, Eliana's always got the HE index jersey, the gaming jersey, because we were going to give these we were going to basically sponsor with all the SPS that we had with index. We were going to stake it on players that played the game, because not only would they get rewards, but we would get rewards for staking. So that's what made me so excited about SPS. I don't know when that's coming. They don't really mention it a lot anymore. I don't know why. I think that would send Splinterlands to another level in the stratosphere. There's got to be reasons why they haven't released it. I think, they wanted SPS out, then they wanted the Rooney out, and they wanted Lux Vega out, and they wanted tower defense out. So they got this is the thing. They got so many things going on. Land and player staking is the two things I think they need to focus on the most going forward, because that's where I think it would explode. The problem is that's not income generating for the company. So I can see why they've pushed it back. So Yeah, there you go. That's my speech. Thank you for the question, John. Appreciate it. We got Tokenized Society, and you are going to love this task because this is right up your alley with one block irreversibility. Hello, Maniacs. My question today is about hard fork 26 features that I really don't hear people talking about. One block irreversibility. What is that? How does it make Hive better? Does it impact end users? Is it mostly for developers? Keep rocking. He wants to know.
Well, listen to Tuesday's show. Block Trades really explained it well. Basically, what happened is, let me think of. Okay, I'll give you an example. Basically, the way Hive was before the hard fork is it took, I think Block Trade said 15 witnesses before a block was
confirmed
as an irreversible. So that means 15 times 3 is 45 seconds. So actually, I guess you would say 48 seconds or whatever portion of 3, because you get your transaction in the first block. So it could be, a few hundred milliseconds to 3 seconds. Then you need 15 others after that, or I guess you'd have 14. So anyway, the idea is it took 45 seconds for a block to be irreversible because you needed 15 witnesses to confirm it. Now what they do is they kind of they establish a menu and they kind of like pre-voted, I guess you could say. I mean, I don't know exactly how to phrase it. But what happens is the instant the block is produced, within a few hundred milliseconds, it will be irreversible.
Right.
In 99 point some odd percent of the cases. There are a few cases, Block Trade said, where it doesn't happen that way. It takes a little longer, but most of the instances go off without a problem. Now, where is that a big deal? That's a big deal in this thing called settlement. And settlement's a financial term. And I guess the best way to understand it is take a check that somebody writes to you and go to your bank and deposit in the bank and see how long it takes till your funds are available. And depending on your country, depending on where the check's drawn from, is it local? Is the person banking at the same bank or do they bank in another bank?
Right.
See how long it takes till your funds are available. Because in the banking system, in the developed countries at least, what you have is it takes some time for Bank A to debit one account and for Bank B to credit another account. But then you also have the settlement between the banks, which this is where the banking industry, the banks have to settle. And that takes, usually on the day that these transactions are submitted, they net out their settlement. The problem is if you go internationally, I mean, anybody who's tried to do anything international, like if John sent me a check on a bank drawn in Canada to the United States, it probably would take a full 7 days before those funds are available to me. And that's just how long it takes for it to settle. So now what Block Trade said on the show is Hive can settle in 1.6 seconds effectively. Now, why is this important? Well, let's say you go to a game, or let's say you go to a website and you want to download something. And so you go and buy something that, the download will start as soon as the funds are cleared. Because let's say it's $25. So you send them 25 HBD. Well, under the old system, the download would not start for at least 45 seconds. I think Block Trade said, like most of any apps that were doing that, he mentioned Deluxe, it was like a minute before anything would start. So you'd be sitting there a minute waiting for your download to start. Not the end of the world, I'll grant you, but the application, the website does not want to give you the product until it knows the money is secure. Now, if you send it, depending on where you are in the block, if the block ends half a second after you send your transaction through, that thing will settle in under a second. So now that application knows that at most with 3 seconds and a little bit of change, nothing will happen, that it can start. that block will be settled. Compare that with Bitcoin, where it takes a minimum of 10 minutes, and sometimes it can take an hour to get one confirmation.
Right.
And then you need however many confirmations. And as Block Trade said in one conversation, he's had them take 2 days and then the confirmation fails. So can you imagine waiting for your download for 2 days and then the confirmation fails and you don't go back and check for another 2 days? It's 4 days to get your download. That's the main advantage of one block irreversibility is Hive now, I believe, in the world has the fastest settlement times for money, because you're looking at 3 seconds and a couple hundred milliseconds in most instances where any transaction is done. It's settled, it's completed, it's not reversible. It's written to the ledger. I mean, and again, do a compare and contrast to the banking. I mean, I think tokenized societies in Brazil. Again, if I sent him a check, John, or if you sent him a check, who knows how long? I mean, first off, it take whatever time to get there. But even once he gets in deposits in his account, it'll take who knows how long for that stuff to clear. Here, you and I could send him $25 or 25 HBD, and he has the money and it's cleared and it's settled in under 4 seconds. At worst.
Yeah. I mean, I before my escapades into the blockchain, I was working, for an American company, and there was a point there, right after the PayPal fiascos, and we got our PayPal's shut down, that I was getting checks sent to me. I literally had to go into my bank and explain to them, like, this was traditional banking, where this is coming from, who's it from, and then they would say, okay, well, it's going to take 14 days probably to clear. Like 14 days. I get paid, and I'm not getting paid again for another 14. It's just insanity. So this is why crypto is just such a better solution, but I'm biased. NFT BBG said, is there a bear market on Hive? Because he only sees bulls and lions and dragons and orcas. I see what he did there. Very savvy.
You got to give that one 2 upvotes for creativity.
Yes, it's golf claps. Very good.
Yes,
very creative. And finally, we got Arpren said, I cannot recall who said this. May have been Warren Buffett, but I may give him too much credit. He was a value investor after all his early investment management days. Price is what you pay, value is what you get. Perfect in a bear market. Any chance of reminding everyone watching, listening, what value the Hive platform provides to everyone on it? Well, I mean, I can only speak for myself, and this is it's a really good way, I think, to end the questions this week is just pull back and yes, listen to the Block Trades interview, listen to Dan's spaces yesterday. You'll really get the big view of Hive. But I'll speak personally. I'm approaching my 5-year anniversary on this blockchain. It's December, I think, 17th or something like that. So 5 years. And I started this. I said, I'm going to give myself 5 years to reevaluate everything. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm not going to try to live off this. I'm literally going to give this 5 years. And in that 5 years, it's basically changed my life. It's allowed me to build businesses here. It's allowed me to focus on a social media level where I'm not worried about being censored. I've met amazing people in those 5 years. I've built relationships with them. I've brought my community. Me and Blaine have worked to bring the CTP tribe over to this blockchain. So for me, the value it provides is I can't even begin to describe it because it's just life-changing. If you don't go into this looking at the Bollinger Bands, if you don't go into this looking for the green candles, the RSI or whatever the heck the acronym is, literally the value is what you put into it, and then it becomes like immeasurable. Like you just can't define the value this place brings if you're approaching it this way. 5 years, I wouldn't change a thing. I would have got into things maybe a little sooner. Being more involved in Splinterlands would have been good, because I was there when it was Steam Monsters. I was there at day one. I signed up. I bought like 2 packs, and that was about it because I didn't understand it. But there's certain things I wish I would have done sooner, but it's been the best experience of my professional career. Over 20 plus years of trying to build things online. The value in Hive, you just can't measure it. And for me personally, it's life-changing. So I don't know.
Does it stack up to that those few weeks where you worked as a Chippendale dancer?
Well, there's nothing more attractive than super old ladies like trying to throw money down my G-string.
If they were big enough denominations, they,
Yeah,
I found it after enough beers, or if the denomination of dollar bills is big enough, they look a lot better.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Well,
mm,
here's a point I want to make. Hive has funded the drilling of 4 or 5 water holes in Ghana. What
yep,
is that worth?
right.
What's the value of that? You don't see that in the price of the coin, but what is the value of that? What is the value of being able, take me, being able to come on to Hive and build Leo Glossary with nothing but resource credits? I have no infrastructure costs. And by the way, anybody can do this. It's permissionless. So anybody could build the database on Hive for whatever they wanted, as long as they have enough resource credits, which of course then other people can tap into, because
Right.
I started Leo Glossary, but I don't own Leo Glossary because it's on the blockchain. Nobody owns it. I mean, the data's right there to take. What does it say to you if you come in like John and I, who we were nothings? I mean, we were nothings. We didn't have a huge social media following. We didn't have, or at least I didn't. I wasn't even on social media. And what we've done through consistency, through effort, through the showing of our dedication to Hive, by putting together the show and showing up twice a week, every week for whatever number of weeks we've done that for now, 80, 90 weeks, whatever it is, we keep showing up.
169 is the episode today.
Okay. What does that do? That's what allows us to talk to people like Block Trades, and they call me Dan, and Starkers, and these people who are movers and shakers, is because we've shown the dedication. And I always like to point out Jimmy Adamas, because there's a guy cut from the same mold as me and John. This guy is everywhere. He's everywhere every day. He shows up. He has his routine. He wakes up in the morning, and when he gets on Hive, he attacks his to-do list. He goes into his routine, whatever that is, and he does it every day. And he is over time being rewarded for it if you look at his accounts, his wallet. So that's what it takes. And that's life-changing, because as everything's fallen apart in the cryptocurrency industry, not in the market, but in the industry, Hive is starting to stand out. And like John says, from a content creator standpoint, and I think it's bigger than that, but just from a content creator standpoint, do you want to go and try to swim in a big ocean called YouTube or Twitter and try to stand out? Or do you want to get into a little pond, or a pond that's little right now, called Hive, where it's a lot easier to stand out than it is over there? I could get Block Trade's attention a lot easier than I can get like Raoul Pal or Elon Musk or Jack Dorsey or anybody on Twitter. Nobody who's big on Twitter is going to give me a glance. And that's the difference. You can stand out on Hive. You can get the attention on Hive, and you can be part of something that I believe over the next 5 or 10 years is really going to be revolutionary. Because as I look out over the crypto industry, all the stuff that was promoted as crypto was bullshit. It was centralized, VC funded, Wall Street, incestuous, centralized bullshit. That's what it was. There's only a few things that, in my opinion, are keeping in the core tenets of cryptocurrency, of Web3, of decentralization, of account ownership, of control, of sovereign money, of freedom of speech, all the things that we talk about. There's only a few things out there that do that. And sadly, a lot of those things are tied to a blockchain like Ethereum, which is probably going KYC and shit like that. So even the stuff that fits with the tenets and the values of cryptocurrency, because of the limitations or because of the perversion of these other blockchains or companies or entities or whatever, they're now perverted too, because it's like, okay, yeah, it's decentralized. Yeah, you download the app. Yeah, nobody owns it, but look at what you're tied to. Look at what controls it. Yeah, there's one proof of stake company entity that could like stop your Ethereum transactions. We don't have that on Hive, and that is truly valuable. And I don't think people realize how valuable. Here's something that was tweeted out. If Twitter goes down, where does the crypto/NFT Twitter go? This is what somebody sent out. On Twitter, you don't have true account ownership. If you say that on Hive, first off, Hive can't go down, as we said the other day, as long as somebody's going to run a node, and I'm sure Blaine's going to do everything in his power to keep the fucking node running. So there will be at least one node running. If you have one node running, you can access your NFTs, your crypto, if it's on Hive. Obviously NFTs will be on something else, but you can access your Hive crypto. Twitter, you're done. And it's not only if Twitter goes down, because the odds of Twitter going down are not great, but you know what's a lot greater? What if Twitter zaps your account? Now, not only do you lose your social media, you lose your access to your assets. That is the difference. That's the difference between Web 2 and Web 3. Who is creating my new line, John? This is my new line. If not Hive, who? Because who the hell, after listening to block trades, after talking to They Call Me Dan, who the hell else can do this? Who the hell else has the base layer that's actually truly decentralized? There may be a few out there, but then who has the technological capability and the horsepower in their system to actually do anything meaningful? And then now, as we found out from block trades, as we find out with Speak Network, as we find out from Disregard, there's a bunch of people very, very interested in duplicating this at the layer 2, so that we got decentralized node systems at the second layer for all that stuff we don't put on the first layer, like smart contracts. Tell me who can handle this? If not Hive, who? So to the one who asked the question, what's the value of that? I don't know. I don't think the world knows. But you know what? We tend to find out when people end up getting zapped. And all those people who were stuck in FTX are now sitting there saying, gee, I should have paid attention to the not your keys, not your crypto.
Yeah. How many times we got to hear that speech? Like, geez.
Yeah. And you know what? Know what's fascinating? And somebody mentioned, I don't see the golf clap. I don't see the bear market on Hive. How much did FTX affect Hive? Zero. Other than the high price, it affected Hive zero. Because guess what? We don't have any exposure. We are off on our own island. We are not part of that incestuous centralization, masking ourselves as crypto or Web3. We truly are that. Yes, we're small. We're off to the side. Nobody knows about us because we don't have the integration with all the big wigs who have the resources and the contacts at the crypto media and all this other shit. We don't have that. You know what we just do? We do our thing. We're on our own island. We're building the bridges, but everything's going to lead to Hive because we are not full of that toxicity that basically is just Wall Street being reproduced under the guise of crypto.
That's it.
And that's valuable. That's worth, I don't know how much. And then all the other shit, we're worth $100 a token by the posts I put up.
Bollinger Bands, man. Bollinger Bands. The RSI is talking to us.
Next week, John's over the weekend is going to be studying MACD crossovers. So he will be able to talk about them on next Friday.
Gag me with a pitchfork. Guys, just add value to the blockchain and you will be blown away with the value it gives back. And you guys are adding value to us each and every week with these questions. So thank you for coming.
We got some house cleaning.
What's that?
We had
Oh
a
yeah.
change in the schedule. What does our schedule look like on our Tuesday shows for next
Well,
few weeks?
Tuesday is tentative. We were gonna have Crimson Clad, but apparently she can't make it now, so
No.
we're gonna have to reschedule that. Not sure yet. We got some feelers out for Tuesday, but the 29th, that is Bro Day with our good friend Raymond Speaks. He will be
And
here
then
on the
Crimson
29th.
Clad will be what is the 5th or the 6th, whatever's the first.
6th of December. So
6th of
Crimson is pushed
December is
back till the
Crimson Clad.
yeah.
So
So
hopefully we'll have a guest on Tuesday. We have some irons in the fire, I guess you could say.
yep, there you go. Perfect. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Have a great weekend. Go look at the Bollinger Bands and all that fun stuff, or not. Have a great weekend.
If John puts up a post, he would appreciate you screenshotting any of your charting that you do and put it in the comment section of his post.
Yes,
He wants to have a post, all his posts. He wants to have at least 10 or 15 crypto charts in there.
absolutely. Please have a good weekend.